Elf is a 2003 comedy Christmas film directed by Jon Favreau, of all people. The story is about one of Santa's elves named Buddy, who learns of his true identity as a human, not an elf, and he goes to New York City to meet his biological father, spreading Christmas cheer in a world of cynics as he goes. And as I said, Jon Favreau, the director of Iron Man 2, the live-action Jungle Book movie from last year, and who is currently filming the live-action retelling of The Lion King. Shit. Ever since this movie, he's come fucking far. Will Ferrell plays Buddy, and I mean, it's one of his best performances. He's very charming and silly, and he plays the role as though he's born to play it. We also have a pretty good supporting cast. I mean, you got James Caan as Buddy's biological father, and he does a pretty good job with that, though can come across as the cliche estranged father, so nothing really new there. And Ed Asner is a pretty good Santa Claus, I thought, and actually, this was one thing that I didn't realize. For some reason, even though I've watched this movie quite a few times, but rewatching it, I realized that Zooey Deschanel is in this movie, and I don't know. Okay, if you're not a big fan of her, then you're not gonna like her, but this was like when she was kind of starting out, and she hadn't been doing the same shtick over and over again, and this is kind of the shtick that she ends up doing later, but since it's, you know, newer, it feels a bit fresh, so she is kind of adorable as a love interest. And of course we have Bob Newhart, playing the elf who actually adopted Buddy. And, I mean, what can I say? It's Bob Newhart. I love his style of deadpan humor. As I did mention earlier, at least once or twice, the director of the film went on to direct quite a few big-budget films, and has even been entrusted with remaking what a lot of people would consider the most perfect Disney animated movie. So it did feel kind of weird going from not too long ago when I did my Jungle Book review to making a review on Elf. I will admit that I hadn't seen this film in a few years, and that's not my fault. I did it because every time I watched something with Will Ferrell, my dad would get mad. And not to, like, you know, not saying like he threw shit, it was just like I didn't want to deal with that. And it happened because my dad hates Will Ferrell as an actor, but mostly as a comedian. He doesn't think he's funny at all. And because of that lull of time in between the watches, which I think was about maybe 5-6 years, I'm gonna go ahead and put a pin on 6. I was actually worried that I wasn't gonna like the movie like I did when I was a kid, and I just had a feeling it was gonna be too kid-friendly, but you know what? My fears were unfounded. This is just a very funny movie. I mean, it's great for kids and adults as just your standard fish out of water story. The corniness does get a bit too much every once in a while, but not to the point where I was annoyed, so that was a good thing. I would say that the weakest part of the entire film is the ending, you know, with the whole Santa saves Christmas ending that has become extremely cliche, and it was cliche even back in 2003, and actually, come to think of it, okay, on top of all of that, the plot itself is a bit thin, but it's really hard to notice because of the fast-paced humor, which is kind of good, but at the same time, like, when you've seen it so many times, you start really looking at the story, and then you think, okay. So even with the thin plot, the cliche last few minutes and ending, the movie flows pretty well, and it's pretty funny, and in the end, Elf is just a nice, funny holiday movie for all ages to enjoy, and I will be giving the film 3.5 reels. Well, that'll do it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my new Christmas series. I will be coming out with more very soon, but until then, please subscribe if you haven't already for more reviews and content, and as always, just thanks for watching, and farewell until the next video.